What's up, EF? Happy Friday. We've got a great rundown of some of these beers that we have available for August. So let's get started. We're gonna do a quick overview of what we got and then we'll dive into them. First up, we got our first ever barrel-aged barley wine. Barrel-aged, never say never. But you can guess why I named it that. Then we've got A-side and B-side, two beers that Emily and I did that we each blended individually, and we're gonna ask you to tell us which one you like better. Then we've got a triple fruit funky blender. It's like an estate blend, all from the same grower in Paonia, Colorado, with red currants, blackberries, and raspberries. Then we've got a really small batch of ghost note preserves with Laroda plums from Palisade, and a little bit of vanilla to kind of round it out. And then last but not least, we've got Fruit Stand Black Raspberry, one of the last black raspberry blends that we did from the 2021 harvest, which is behind us, which is why I pointed this way. All right, let's get into it. First up, barrel aged, never say never. This barley wine was aged for 14 months in a blend of Breckenridge bourbon barrels, and then also port barrels that were they finished bourbon in. So it's a blend of those different barrels. 100% Maris Otter, a very long boil to get all that color. Aged 14 months, UK Fuggle hops, English ale yeast. Big fan of this one. Sweet. We previewed it at the member party weekend a couple weeks ago. People loved it. We've been getting great feedback for it, and so now it's passed all the bio that we could throw at it, and it's good to go. It's safe to sell, so we're pumped for this one. Yeah, just big vanilla notes. Eric likes to say it's got legs too when you swirl it. That's kind of cool. So it's viscous. It's close to 12% alcohol. Eric likes to say it's like a Rolo, like the candy Rolo, like chocolate and caramel. Sweet, tasty. You can't taste the alcohol at all. Dangerous. Great after dinner drink. If you're a big fan of these stouts and these barley wines, you're gonna like this one. Next up, we've got A-side and B-side. So Emily, back in 2017, Emily and I did a blend off using funky blender barrels, and then we had it on draft at Good Zur in Denver during, I think it was during GABF, I don't remember. But we did an event and we had to ask people to vote to see which one they liked better at that event. And I won by one vote, but what's cute was that Emily and I each picked each other's blends as our favorite because we also did it blindly. Again, I have no idea which one of these was my blend and which one was Emily's, but we both selected from the same 8 different barrel samples. But what was cool is that we each chose completely different barrels, so we didn't have any overlap. We both found a barrel that we really liked for its unique characteristics, and then we added a bit of other barrels in there to kind of round out that. And so both of these blends are super unique and very different from any of the other base beers that we do, because it was a blend of a bunch of different base beers. So this one reminds me a lot of those really old funky blenders that we've been tasting lately. Complex, very low acidity. On this one, maybe that was mine. I don't know. Who knows? I like the lower acid ones, and but still a lot of complexity and fruitiness. Is this B-side? Yeah. So B-side, very different on the nose, much more tropical fruit. Again, lower acidity, which is saying a lot, especially having first tried this big sweet barley one. So you would normally think that anything with acid would taste a lot more sour after having something this sweet, but again, very low acid in both of these. Again, very low batch size on these as well. And so Team No Fruit, you're gonna like them. Try them side by side. We're gonna do some events in the Front Range with these beers as well. Try to have some fun to see whose blend was better. So A-side and B-side, EF exclusives. Up next, we've got Funky Blended Preserves Triple Fruit with red currant. Oh, that's a nice cork right there. Cork stain with red currant, raspberries, and blackberries, all from the same grower in Paonia. So that grower reached out to us last year. They said he had some red currants available, and would we be interested? Absolutely. We usually can't get enough to do anything by itself. So what we do is what we like to do this year was to round it out with the raspberries and blackberries from that same grower. Great foam. big berry jammy notes on the nose. The Currant definitely comes through in the mouthfeel and in the taste. With the berries and the blackberries kind of being the second, kind of on the second half of the taste, if you will. That's when I'm tasting a lot of those berry characteristics. So low acid, even though you would expect with some of these fruits to have a high acid content. Very low acid, super drinkable, and a treat to get red currants. We don't usually get to find red currants, so it's always fun when we do. I think in the nose we're getting some citrus characteristics from the red currants, though, that we don't normally get from any of the berries that we often use from Colorado. Ghost Note preserves, Laroda plum. One of my favorite plums to get from Palisade. We get it from a small grower called Juicy Acres in Palisade. Google it. Chuck's a great guy. He used to be a miner over here, I believe, in the Crystal River Valley, and then he gave up mining to become a farmer. So he's a great salt of the earth guy. We've been working with him for years. So the Laroda plums, we get a nice lower color compared to some of the darker plums that we'll use. But the candy flavor that we get from these plums is just amazing. Like, you've heard me gush about them before, I'm sure. The big plum in the nose, it smells like you just tasted a fresh, drippy plum, a leaner plum, if you will. And then we added some Madagascar vanilla to this blend as well. Again, very small blend we've got here. Medium acid, if not low acidity. The vanilla just kind of kicks in at the finish to round out some of the perceived sweetness in the taste. Over 4 pounds per gallon of these Laroda plums were used in this preserved beer. Very drinkable. It's the last plum beer that we had from the 2021 harvest, so jump on this one. Last but not least, fruit stand preserved black raspberry. This has been on tap at the tap room for a little bit. Just so much fun to see this color. I like to say the color of these black raspberries is kind of similar to when people see it, other people drinking it, they're like, what's that? I want to try that. It's kind of like you go to a restaurant, they bring out like a sizzling plate of some spicy food. Everybody's like, I want that, I gotta have that. So it's kind of, we say all the time, people drink with their eyes, and that's what this one is. Saison for the base beer. The black raspberries from the Pacific Northwest at around 2 pounds per gallon, but you're gonna think it's like preserves beer when you try this one. Again, medium acidity. I'm very proud of all the acidity that we've got in these beers, but still jammy, really sweet, coming from those berries and the unfermentable fruit alcohols that are naturally found in berries. It's a treat right there with some ice cream. Now we're talking. So thanks, EF. Hope you all having a great summer. Thanks for everybody that came out to the member party a couple weeks ago, and we hope to see you all soon. So cheers, EF. Have a great one.